Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's so good to have you with us today. I am so excited to have Susan with Mansker Tax Pros today with us. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Britta. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so Susan is just like a wealth of information. And every time I talk to her, I learn so much. And I'm so grateful that she'd be willing to share that with us today. So our theme for the month is setting up your business for success. And Susan, obviously, she does taxes. She's an accountant. She's got a lot of experience with this. And so I just want to ask you maybe to share with us 3 tips from an accountant's perspective, what you need to do to set your business up for success.
Yeah, so it's so important when you're starting to have your own business, whatever it is that you're going into, that you make sure that you're in the right business structure and that you understand what those business structures are that are available to you. There's a lot out there, so it can be confusing. Most people don't really choose anything and they stay what's called a sole proprietor, which is just you, and your social security number is your entity number essentially, but it's not an entity, it's just you. And there are some drawbacks to that, and that might hinder you when it comes to having a business account, because you can't have one without an entity.
Interesting. So they won't like the bank won't allow you to set up a business banking account unless you have an EIN number, or like you said.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can have a DBA.
Okay.
But still an actual business bank account cannot be set up without having an entity number, an EIN. Okay. So that's definitely essential. So if you are going into business with one other person or 2 or more people, then a partnership is always something that's really good to look at, because then you can split up things by percentages, and it just helps make sure that there's clear lines and boundaries that are drawn for that.
Is that a legal thing as well as like a tax thing? Like it helps you protect you on both aspects doing something like that?
Yeah, it can.
I mean, I know you're not a lawyer, so sorry. I shouldn't be asking the legal question, but
you're good. I can't give legal advice. However, when you do set up an entity like a partnership, it really does help create boundaries and define lines, which is good. So, and as long as there's clear expectation within the partnership, a partnership can be a very good thing. Another entity that's available is an LLC. And that's something that I definitely want to touch on a little bit more. And then there's S Corps and C Corps, and again, the sole proprietorship. So those are your basics. And those are things that it's important to understand when you go into business for yourself, what those are and what's going to be the best possible situation for you, not just tax-wise, but running your business, what's going to help you the most.
That's awesome. And I believe if in our talk, in our conversations and stuff, that you actually do help people set those up as well. So if, in addition to tax services, you offer business entity, help with that.
Yeah. So we do LLC formations. I was trained by an attorney to do them. And the biggest reason why I got trained was because I have business clients that they've had no idea what business structure to go into. And I can send them to an attorney, and I think that is so important. However, sometimes you can't get in with one, or they're scheduling things, or there's price issues. There's all kinds of reasons for that. So it was really beneficial for me to learn and to work under another attorney doing that and making sure that I knew exactly what needed to be done so I could best help my clients too.
Awesome. Yeah, such great information. So perfect. So knowing how to set up our business is like an obvious first step, right? Like just knowing what the basic formation should be. So what are some other things from your perspective that should be done to help set it up for success?
So I think your first step, like you said, is the business formation. Having an LLC, which is a limited liability company, is going to set you up for success right from the get-go. You are creating a protection around your business, and you are separating your personal life and transactions from your business life and transactions. And that is essential, not only from, like I said, I cannot give legal advice, but from a legal standpoint, if something were to happen and heaven forbid somebody sues you, that LLC is going to help protect you as long as the right things are in place.
Yeah.
But also, from a tax standpoint, at the end, so for me, at the end, it's always looking at what is the IRS going to look at with this, and how is it going to be? When you have that LLC in place, it completely separates everything. So it allows for a clear look at what business transactions are, and seeing that hopefully there's no personal transactions going on, there's no commingling going on. And when you have that LLC set up, that's when you can then go get that business bank account, which again allows for that separation and allows for that barrier to be there to help your business be successful.
Yeah. So you feel it's very important for people not to commingle expenses, from their business expenses as well. I know that, that's one of the number one questions I probably get from a bookkeeping perspective is, I've spent this on my personal account, how do we take care of it? And, and we can account for those things, but from an accountant's perspective, what's the importance of doing that?
So when you commingle funds, there's no direct line that says this is business and this is personal. You can go out to a restaurant, and how will the IRS or an auditor look at your bank statements or your return and say, well, this is definitely a business expense if it's not being ran through a business account. When you commingle funds, you're muddying the waters. You're making things very difficult, not only for your bookkeeper, but for your tax accountant too, who's trying to do their best job for you and protect you, but also get the best outcome for you. And they can't if you're mixing personal and business transactions.
Yeah.
So it's super important to keep those separated, which is why having, again, starting with the LLC, getting the business bank account, and having everything be separated is so important.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Such important information. So yeah, so and I know our time is getting short, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but if you would have another tip that you would want to share with us today.
So something that I've realized with my clients, especially, is when we do a business formation and they get their whole business formation in their folder and they see that they've got their EIN with their business name that they've picked, and their articles of formation that state what they're doing and their purpose. And they've got their operating agreement, and they've got, this all this help behind them. It really does create a better mindset. You really start to look at yourself a little bit better, and you've got more confidence behind you because you've created this amazing business that's gonna just take off and do well and be successful. And that's your hope for it too. And so when you create that business entity, it really does help you take yourself more seriously, and you tend to want to do better too. So it just helps a lot.
Such a huge psychological thing that's going on there, right? Like not only on your part, but probably on the part of people coming to you to see that you're you have a business set up, you have all the legal things done. You're a real entity. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Great
for
tips.
Sure.
Awesome. So much great advice, man. You are a wealth of information. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. If anybody has questions, are you open to having people reach out to you?
I would love to help people with this. I would love to just talk about things and make sure that they're in the best possible situation and help however I can.
Awesome. Cool. I'll make sure and post your information then in the takeaways and in the chat. So thank you, Susan. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everything you've shared with us.
Thank you, Britta, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.